The Vok War begins. Hey, what's up everyone? James here, and we are back with Beast Wars. This is the beginning of the end of this series. So if you want to get caught up, check out the link right here or check out the pinned comment below. With that being said, let's get right into it. So it begins here with the Predacons, Scorponok, and Waspinator being attacked by these creatures that are giving them some trouble. They add to the list of strange creatures we've seen in this series so far on this planet, that we can safely assume are all experiments of the Vok. We had a spiky looking Sabertooth back in issue 4, a dragon-headed Croc in issue 6, and Iron Wolves in issue 10. When it comes to these beasts though, they seem to be a mixture of the Sabertooth Tiger and a Hammerhead Shark. Now, Waspinator and Scorponok do eventually successfully defeat these creatures. Now, why these beasts were attacking them gets answered here. Scorponok points out that these creatures seem to be in a berserk-like state, and he bets what caused them to behave that way is this energon load that he and Waspinator discover that is super potent. So potent that he could feel it through the shielding of his beast mode. Later, aboard the dark side, they take a piece of that energon crystal to Tarantulas. After analyzing the energon crystal, Tarantulas reports to the Predacons that the crystal's radiation has a psychoactive effect that increases aggression and anger. If you're questioning like Scorponok and Waspinator are as to why they weren't affected by the crystal, there are a couple of theories that could explain it, but we'll talk about those later. However, Tarantulas does seem to know the answer to that question, but he laughs and only tells them they should consider what that says about them. Megatron, pleased with this new discovery, already has sinister plans for it, like weaponizing it. A few days later, Optimus Primal and Dinobot are positioning new warning sensors outside the perimeter of the Axalon. While planting one of them, it unexpectedly lights up and alerts them. The Predacons, Tarantulas, and Black Arachnia ambush them. However, they make it clear that they aren't here to have a drawn-out battle. Tarantulas outmaneuvers Dinobot, who is in his beast mode, and he places a bomb on his back. The Spider Predacons quickly make their escape. When Primal tries to take the bomb off of Dinobot's back, it suddenly goes off and the explosion knocks him out. So I'm sure some of you have already figured out what's happening here. The bomb Tarantulas planted on Dinobot wasn't an actual bomb per se. It was the potent energon crystal weaponized into a flashbang of sorts. This gets confirmed for us quickly here, because aboard the Axalon, after Rhinox successfully brings Optimus Primal back online and reminds him of the attack, Primal just straight up punches Rhinox right in the face, yelling at him for not being there when they were attacked, and blames Dinobot for letting Tarantulas get the drop on him. After Primal storms off, Dinobot astutely deduces the bomb must have increased his aggression. Rhinox mentions the radiation from the bomb affected Primal's neural processor, similar to energon poisoning. He does wonder though why Dinobot wasn't affected, and theorizes maybe being in his beast mode saved him. But Dinobot has a different theory. He thinks it's because he is well practiced at controlling his aggression. Now this could answer the question as to why Scorponok and Waspinator didn't get affected by the energon crystal, because maybe Predacons as a race learned to control their aggression early on. Or possibly another theory is that certain Transformers are born with an innate increased aggression, and that is what Tarantulas meant by that says something about them when speaking to Scorponok and Waspinator. Comment below what you all think about this. Now, this whole situation and some things that have transpired so far originated in the Beast Wars episode called Guerrilla Warfare. Dinobot in the episode got not a bomb stuck on his back, but a seed pod. Meant to be a funny scene since his short raptor arms couldn't reach it, Primal ended up taking it off. They both got ambushed by Scorponok, who shot Primal with a device he created called a Cyber Bee. That device was supposed to turn Optimus Primal into a coward, but since Scorponok, as Dinobot put it, is notoriously incompetent, it instead turned Primal into a berserker. One thing you guys may have noticed so far, I go back and forth between calling Optimus Primal or calling him Optimus or calling him Optimus Primal. I just like switching it up sometimes, get used to it. As Primal is storming the halls of the Axelon, Nyx greets him, and Primal just slams her up against the wall and yells at her for getting captured by the Predacons when they first arrived. Cheetor and Rattrap try to intervene, and Primal calls them a bunch of losers and just throws Nyx towards them. He then straight up pimp slap Cheetor, tries to hit Rattrap, but luckily he dodges the attack. Rhinox comes up from behind and restrains Optimus. Now what Dinobot says next reveals how he truly feels about the Maximals. He talks Optimus down and reminds him his crew is loyal and admits they are as good and true as any warriors he's ever met. He also redirects Optimus Primal's fury towards Megatron. He tells him he could end him and receive a hero's welcome back on Cybertron. Optimus breaks out of Rhinox's grip, yelling how Dinobot is right, and rushes off to attack Megatron. Dinobot and Rhinox reveal to the rest of the Maximal crew this was their plan. Have Optimus be focused on Megatron while the radiation in him burns off. Now the hope is the radiation will burn off before he even reaches the dark side. And if it doesn't, Dinobot mentions a fight for the ages will take place. Now, speaking of Megatron, on the dark side, he's trying to repair the ship's transwarp drive that the Maximals destroyed, but he's having a hard time. Waspinator informs him about a Maximal who's fallen into one of their traps. Megatron follows him into the forest, but he finds nothing. Megatron just walked into a trap. This isn't Waspinator. This fake Waspinator tries to blast him, but Megatron dodges and asks if he's a Maximal assassin. Fake Waspinator answers no, I'm just the one that fooled you. He quickly gains the upper hand in the fight and incapacitates Megatron by blasting his head with electricity. This fake Waspinator transforms into his true form, a bot named Saberback, who reports to someone over comms saying, I have Megatron, that's one down. We then go to Optimus Primal in his beast mode swinging through the forest, heading toward the dark side. Suddenly though, he is blasted out of the tree line onto the ground. The bot who did this introduces himself. His name is Polar Claw, in his beast mode, which as his name suggests, is a polar bear. And I have to say he has quickly become one of my favorite Beast Wars characters because as a transformer, he is no joke. He tells Primal to come with him, but to no surprise, Optimus refuses. They start bashing each other in their beast modes, going back and forth. Optimus takes the fight in his hands, beating down Polar Claw, believing he is a Predacon sent by Megatron to stop him. He makes it clear to Polar Claw he won't stop from reaching Megatron. However, Polar Claw reveals Megatron didn't send him. When Optimus asks who sent him, Polar Claw answers, there is more to this world and bigger threats than you Maximals and Predacons. As to who sent me, I was sent by gods. Polar Claw transforms and unleashes a blast that puts Optimus down for the count. Polar Claw reports to someone over comms saying Optimus Primal is ours. Some cycles later, we go to Optimus Primal waking up and finding himself in a cave with Megatron. He launches at him and ends up hitting a shield that electrocutes him. He threatens Megatron that if he has anything to do with their current situation, he'll rip him apart. Megatron enjoys Optimus Primal's fury and informs him that Tarantulas was the one responsible for the device that made him this way. As Optimus is about to let his anger take control again, it quickly dissipates. Optimus realizes the jolt from the force field helped clear the rest of the energon radiation from his brain. He tells Megatron they should work together to get out of their current predicament, but to no surprise, Megatron refuses because he is content with sitting and waiting until the Predacons find him. Optimus points out though that whoever has them captured most likely has them well hidden, and reminds him that this planet is big and both their crews won't find them anytime soon. Despite all of that, Megatron still refuses to work with him. Optimus hits the shield with his 2 cyber blades, and Megatron informs him the shields are resistant to physical attacks, and absorbs energy blasts. As they're both passing notes as to how they were captured, a voice interrupts. informing them that they are in a cavern deep within this world. That voice belongs to Tigatron, and with him are Airazor, Saberback, Polar Claw, and Inferno. They are the children of the Vok. Okay, let's go into a little bit of a deep dive here on these characters, because some of them you're already familiar with, some of them you may not be. Now, let's go with Tigatron, Airazor, and Inferno. They all three originated in the Beast Wars show. Tigatron and Airazor both became Maximals and eventually became a couple. Inferno was a hilarious addition to the Predacons. He was always calling Megatron his queen or royalty and always yelling, "For the colony!" Now, out of the three of them though, Airazor and Tigatron have a connection with the Vok. They were abducted by them, and the Vok merged their sparks and created Tigerhawk. Now let me tell y'all something about Tigerhawk. He was not one, but the most powerful transformer of the Beast Wars. Don't argue it, it is fact, I'm telling you right now. He had the power to manipulate the weather and the terrain of Earth with ease. And that was the only bot the Vok had created in the show. When it comes to Saberback, he originated in the Japanese Beast Wars spinoff called Beast Wars Neo. When it comes to Polar Claw, technically he first appeared in a Beast Wars 3H comic story where we briefly got a glimpse of him, but where we first saw him in all of his glory was IDW's Beast Wars The Gathering. Fun fact, both were written by Simon Furman. So if you're wondering how the Vok got their hands on the protoform pods, remember in issue 8, Black Arachnia had successfully infiltrated the Axelon and she had called down all 19 protoform pods. Then in the last video, Pakak gained access to Cheetor's mind and learned about the protoform pods. So the Vok took them, reprogrammed them, and brought the protoforms to life. Really it's 18 because Skull discovered Razor Beast's pod. Now you may be saying to yourself, James, you said 18 but there are only 5 Transformers here. Don't worry, the rest will appear and it's going to be absolutely insane. Now their connection to the Vok gets confirmed for us when Megatron asks them who they are affiliated with. Airazor answers they don't identify as Maximal or Predacon. They've had a spiritual awakening thanks to the Vok. Megatron becomes furious, asking who the Vok are and demanding to speak to them. Tigatron tells him he isn't worthy enough to speak to them because they are the stewards and gods of this world. The children of the Vok all explain to Megatron and Optimus that the Vok demand they stop interfering with this world. Their only options are to leave the planet or go into stasis until the Vok are done with their experiments. To no surprise, Megatron refuses both options and blasts the shield and tells the children of the Vok they are nothing. Tigatron informs Megatron he'll pass along his request, but he bets he'll run out of power and cease to function long before the Vok ever consider speaking to him. After the Vok's Transformers leave, Megatron gets pissed at Optimus for not saying anything, but Optimus informs him he didn't say anything because he was focused on the shield. He explains that after Megatron blasted the shield, the dust around him dispersed and passed through it, and points out that the children of the Vok transformed into their beast modes to exit the cavern. Also, he points out when he was captured, he was in his beast mode, and he questions why the Vok would go through the effort of shifting him back into his primary mode if they plan to imprison him. Optimus deduces his beast mode should be able to pass through the shield. He transforms and successfully passes through it. He proposes a truce to Megatron and tells him the Vok aren't letting them leave here so easily, so they need to work together. Megatron begrudgingly agrees. Now, unbeknownst to them, the Vok, Pakak, Takani, and Tunrar are observing them. Now, to help you all distinguish who's who out of the Vok, in their previous appearances, we could only tell them apart by the differences of their heads and faces. Luckily here, it's a lot more noticeable, and each of them has a set of different colored eyes. Tunrar has pink glowing eyes, Takani has green, and Pakak has yellow. The Vok are surprised to see Optimus and Megatron, the bitter rivals, working together. Takani is curious to see if they will turn on each other. He proposes they have their Transformers attack them. If Optimus and Megatron survive the onslaught, then they'll speak with them. Pakak and Tunrar agree to the proposal. Once Optimus and Megatron exit the cavern, they are surrounded and attacked by the children of the Vok. Now, make no mistake, though they are outnumbered, Megatron and Optimus are able to hold their own against them. Megatron wraps his jaws around Polar Claw in his beast mode, and Optimus takes on Tigatron and Saberback. Whereas Optimus is still trying to get the children to agree to a peaceful coexistence, Megatron is like, nah son, it's kill or be killed. He lifts Polar Claw and unleashes a massive blast through Polar Claw's body, killing him right on the spot. Don't get me wrong, this was cool to see, but my problem with it is when we initially meet Polar Claw, he is depicted as a massive bot. He either could be Megatron size, or you can argue he's even bigger. I don't believe Megatron would be able to fully wrap his jaws around him, or even be able to lift him. He isn't as strong as Scold is. But anyways, Optimus Primal gains the upper hand in his fight with Tigatron, taking out his blaster, and Air Razor intervenes. What's more interesting than that is Megatron aims his blaster at Optimus, considering taking him out while he's distracted. But Megatron ends up not going through with it, since he would be outnumbered 4-1 if he does that. At that moment, Saberback and Inferno try to sneak up on Megatron using Saberback's hologram ability to turn themselves invisible. However, Megatron is prepared for that. They both end up ensnared by his grip. He says to Saberback, it's best to never attack a Predacon and leave him alive. He absolutely crushes Saberback with his jaws, and that's the end of him. Before he can do the same to Inferno, a voice interrupts, saying this fight is over. The voice is Pakak, using Polar Claw's body as a puppet to speak through. He admits that he wasn't going to intervene, but has grown attached to his Transformers. He explains to Megatron and Optimus that the Vok have been on this world for longer than they can imagine, running scientific experiments in order to increase the depths of their knowledge. But their Maximal and Predacon war has constantly interrupted those experiments. They've let them fight up until now because their conflict gave them interesting data and the crashed protoforms allowed them to experiment. However, the Predacons messing with the super potent energon load they've been experimenting on for many kilocycles was the breaking point. They want them to choose either to leave the planet or be put in stasis. Optimus Primal argues they didn't mean to come to this planet and have no way of leaving, and asks if there's a way they can coexist together. At that moment, Megatron fires his T-Rex cannon, destroying the Polar Claw puppet, while saying, I have no more patience for this. He then gloats to Tigatron about how his supposed god is dead now, but Megatron quickly learns Pakak isn't dead at all. Pakak says, I'm not dead, Megatron. I tried the neutral route, but now you will see us as we are. The Vok show their true forms. Pakak says to Megatron, in your words, I have no more patience for this. He brings Megatron to his knees, slowly destroying his spark, while spelling out for him why he and the rest of the Transformers cannot defeat them. He says, we are beings of pure energy. We are more powerful than you can imagine. Suddenly, Optimus pleads for Megatron's life, which surprises the Vok. They ask Optimus why would he defend an enemy. Optimus answers, killing someone on the battlefield is different compared to murdering someone, and admits even though Megatron murdered two of their own in self-defense, he should be tried for his crimes, not murdered. While Takani and Pakak are shocked by this new development, Tunrar doesn't care. He wants to destroy the Transformers and be done with the matter. Optimus uses this opportunity to play on Takani and Pakak's scientific curiosity. He suggests the Vok not pass up the opportunity to see what two opposing factions might do when both are faced with a greater threat. Takani and Pakak, excited at the prospect, agree to it, while Tunrar tries to advise against it. However, Pakak makes it clear to Optimus that this agreement won't save him, only buy him more time. Optimus asks the Vok that the time they are being given to prepare for the conflict goes undisturbed and uninterrupted. and to not spy on them, adding that it would be good for the experiment. Peacock agrees to the demands and tells Optimus the Vok will keep their distance and give them 7 cycles to prepare. After that, then they will come for them. After the Vok leaves, Megatron is convinced they are doomed, because how do you defeat an opponent you cannot even touch and can bring you to your knees with just a thought? Despite that though, Optimus believes they still have a chance. That's the end of the video. The next one will be the end of Transformers Beast Wars, and guess what? You won't have to wait long. It's coming soon. Make sure you subscribe if you want to join the Beyonders. If you want more Transformers content, check out this video right here. Other than that, have an awesome day, and always remember, every day to maximize and go beyond. Hey, if you want to join the upper echelons of the Beyonders, where you'll receive an array of member-only benefits, consider becoming a Beyonder Knight by becoming a YouTube channel member or by joining the Patreon like Patreon members Justin Heverly, Ray Dude, and Drag Logia 5. A massive thank you to you all. Links in the pinned comment below. See you later, Beyonders.